All right, my watch says 4 o'clock, and as my students know, I start right on time, so we're going to get started. Thank you all for joining us today. This is the Designing IMSA's AI Center 2024 intercession, and this is the week 1 cohort. It's been a full-time intercession, and we're happy to share our findings. Involved in the intercession with me was Sue Fricano, the Program Manager of Innovation and Inquiry, Rich Busby, the Project Management Office and Privacy Officer. And our student team is Adi, Annika, Aparna, Kavin, Kavya, Nikhil, and Svar. Next. So our vision at IMSA is to build a curricular and lab space to support artificial intelligence. The design goals are to engage with higher education institutions, students, and alumni with interests and expertise in AI, develop a narrative articulating the experience, and launch opportunities to propose, tinker, and partner to begin prototyping possibilities in AI. Next. So here's an overview of what we did this week. Again, it was a full-day intercession on campus. We covered the origin of the IMSA AI Center, the concept, and our 2023 milestones. I introduced design thinking to the students, as well as IMSA's leadership rapid decision-making process. I covered the BOSI entrepreneurial DNA test, which they all took, and they based and formed their teams on their profile and interest area. The teams then worked independently and collaboratively to research, prototype, and test their ideas. And yesterday, we spent the full day, and Tammy came along with us, as well as President Glazer, to tour Argonne. We had lunch with scientists, and then we had a presentation. It was about how Argonne is using AI in their initiatives that could give the students some really good insights into real-world application. Next. So the week 1 teams, I broke them into 3 different teams. The first team was physical space and people. Second is tech and tools. And the third is programs and partners. You can see who's members of those teams, and you can see letters behind their names. And that's their BOSI DNA entrepreneurial profile. So if you want to know more about that, you'll have to ask me or the students later. Next. And at the end of Wednesday, we finished off kind of our preliminary work with developing an HMW, or how might we question, to guide the students as they put the presentation together and to finalize their work. And this is the question that they finalized and all decided that worked for the team. And I did not develop this. This was the students. How might we develop an AI center to engage, inspire, and educate stakeholders to promote and implement ethical, sustainable, and accessible AI opportunities? All right, next slide.
Thank you, Ms. McKenna. So our first priority with our AI Center vision was defining the problem. Why do we need a physical space? To do so, we conferred with our stakeholders.
Yes, so for our first step, we talked to our stakeholders, who are students and faculty who would be using the place. So from the students, we gained an idea of what spaces they found the most useful so that we could recommend a space that was convenient for them. From visits to faculty members, we were also able to gauge an understanding of what they were expecting from the space. We also talked to Mr. Chris Cornzy and got the official IMSA design net specifications to make sure that our plans were within guidelines.
After talking to our stakeholders, we began exploring solutions in relation to our design goals and decision process. After that, we shared our findings with researchers at Argonne National Laboratory, and based on that, we have some recommendations here for you today. Next. In relation to our design goals for the AI Center, we wanted to design the next into. What does that mean? Well, we wanted to encourage collaboration by providing spaces where students can talk amongst themselves, alumni, faculty, and external mentors. We also wanted to provide resources and room for development. We wanted to embrace modern aesthetics, and we really wanted this to be catered to IMSA's identity and encourage the development of ethical AI through our media. We also wanted a place to showcase the hard work that students put into their AI projects. Next.
So for our design process, we first recognized that we would need 2 spaces, a prototyping room for the AI team to begin mapping out the project, and the final location to house the AI center. We then came up with the 5 C's to define our goals for our locations, which were convenience, compatibility, capability, collaboration, and cost. Next slide, please. We use that to map out our decision matrix. So here's our decision matrix with potential options that we explored for the prototyping room, coming up with the computer lab, which is A145 by the math study area as a good solution. So after talking to Dr. Mohan from the CS faculty, we found out that they prioritized a location close to their current offices and classrooms. We also talked to Mrs. Simoniak, who currently teaches in the room, and she expressed enthusiasm with using the underutilized space. The location also scored highest on our matrix. Seeing as this is an efficient and convenient place for those involved, we recommend it to be utilized as a prototyping room for the project. Next slide. We also discussed contenders for the final AI Center location. For this, we recommend the CNA room, which is directly across from Into and adjacent to the auditorium, to be a good location. First of all, the room provides ample space for a collaborative space and has a close proximity to the Epoch server, meaning that it could properly execute the goals for the AI Center, both in terms of technology and programs. It also has areas that can be converted to office spaces for the new AI director and the CS department. The location also scored high in the matrix, with standouts being that it is in a space convenient for students with proximity to Into and relatively low traffic. Next slide.
Along with our physical space recommendation, we have some innovative concepts to present to you today. One of them would be combining the physical and virtual world through our web portal. This web portal would have video conferencing capability to connect students to AI leaders. It would also have comprehensive curriculum and resources to make AI truly equitable for all students, regardless of their background and experience with AI. We also wanted visualization opportunities where students can showcase their powerful projects and simulations. Next slide, please. Let's look forward into the next steps. We recommend piloting A145 as the prototype AI center, and along with developing the companion web portal in tandem. Based on that, the AI theme team can gauge interest and evolve, and then explore the CNA room as a tech haven, which will be the AI center. Speaking of tech, Nikhil, why don't you take away with the tech and tools?
Next slide.
Thank you, Adi. So I was part of the technology and tools team, and we were researching exactly as it sounds, the technology and tools needed to acquire such an AI center. So we began with the design thinking process, and we ran through the first 3 steps, which were empathy, defining the problem, and ideating solutions. Beginning with our empathy, we wanted to know who our target audience was and what they were doing. So we released a survey, and from the results, we realized that there were 2 types of students at IMSA. Those who wanted to use the AI Center as a method for basically using AI to help with their schoolwork, and those who wanted to do research with their AI. So we defined our problem as how might we develop tools and technology that support the 2 types of students who are interested in the AI Center. Finally, we had to ideate solutions. So after talking to faculty and staff, we came up with a couple. First, to have local testbed hardware. Second, to use Flint AI. Third, to have supercomputer time grants. And fourth, to have paid services. Next, please. So beginning with how we researched and our resources to do so, we were working based off of the Stanford AI Center and how that was behaving. So a lot of our resources came from stanford.edu. And furthermore, we talked to Argonne about their supercomputers, and Flint AI was a great source for how the online website that Adi had mentioned could possibly work. So important people that I just wanted to give a shout out to were first Dr. Mohan, who helped us ideate our solutions at the very beginning when we were first starting out. Mr. Busby, who has been a continuous help throughout the entire process, especially in keeping us up to date with what IMSA admin we're looking at. Mr. Goldblatt, who helped us with finding such test beds and especially identifying the Epoch server. And finally, the researchers at Argonne, who are very patient with our supercomputer questions. Next slide, please. So beginning with the first 2 possible solutions that we came up with. The first one was around the servers, specifically Epoch, and another cluster we found at IMSA, who we know to be owned by Dr. Patonker. So beginning with the Epoch, The pro is obviously that it's at IMSA, which means that all the tools and the hardware that we need is already there. The cons, however, are that it is slightly outdated, as it hasn't been upkept and managed by experts, rather by students, due to the fact that the people who made Epoch had graduated. So now students run it, and because of the low need for the system, there's not a big reason to keep on updating it and keep on working on it. As for Dr. Patonker's cluster, unfortunately, we weren't able to reach Dr. Patonker during this week, so this might be something for next week's program to look into, but we're not really sure about it, but we do know it is at IMSA, so again, it has the same pros that the Epoch server had. Furthermore, we looked at Flint AI, which is basically acts like a ChatGPT for schools. It helps kids work without giving them the actual answer. If you tell it to write an essay, it will refuse to do so, rather suggesting ways that you could write your own essay. And that's perfect as an AI that should help the students. The only issue with this is that it must be paired with something else, as there are kids who are looking to do research with this AI center, and that's the goal that we were trying to solve. So I'll pass it on to Sver, another member of our team, who will continue with the solutions.
Next. Thanks, Nikhil. So now we'll be going over our findings regarding the Argonne supercomputers as well as cloud servers. So one ambitious solution is the use of supercomputers. The main benefit to these is that they're immensely powerful, able to do billions of calculations per second, but they do require time grants. So to rent supercomputers, you must apply for it, and you need a specific problem that can only be solved using these supercomputers. Building one at IMSA is also not a viable solution since they take up large amounts of space and are extremely expensive. Regarding cloud servers, some pros we discovered were that we get complete usage over these services, have numerous software advantages of these servers, and IMSA doesn't actually need to invest in any hardware, a great benefit since AI is constantly changing. However, the main con was licensing. So if a student wanted to publish data gained using these cloud servers, there are copyright issues since it would be owned by the service rather than the student. There are also cons surrounding limited capacity, and we would require a large amount of users to use this solution. Next. So we have two final recommendations from the tech and tools team. Our status quo is to renew the local testbed hardware, such as Epoch, and gain more insight into Dr. Patonker's cluster. The advantages to this approach are that these are very low cost, since both are already at IMSA. However, these are both quite old and not very powerful, meaning this would only be a temporary solution before we would need to expand upon this in the future. Some tools we recommend to be incorporated into the AI Center are Flint AI, lots of computers and outlets, as well as a strong cooling system. Finally, our ideal solution would be to get a supercomputer node from Argonne's supercomputer Theta after it is retired to use as a starting point, since it was only built recently in 2017 and is extremely powerful. However, some cons are that this would require qualified maintenance personnel, whether that be students or a new hire, and a partnership with Argonne. So on that note, I'm going to pass it on to the programs and partners team to continue.
Next.
Thank you, Spur. The programs and partners team focus more on what type of programs and partnerships we could create with clubs and also different labs and universities outside of IMSA. This is so that the AI Center can grow and also help the IMSA community grow in the rapidly changing AI field. Our team focused on what type of programs we can do and hold within the AI Center, and we came up and outlined a curriculum that can run throughout the school year to teach IMSA about AI itself. We also created a survey to see what students at IMSA are interested in at the AI Center, to see what their vision is of the center. We looked into possible partnerships with Argonne and other universities in order to talk to and also communicate with higher education to teach IMSA students and also network with one another. Next. Over this week, we learned from Ms. Tamara Newquist, who said it's extremely possible to have 5 to 6 alumni guest speakers throughout the year, seeing that a lot of our alumni do work in the CS field, And CS itself is a very broad field. However, AI is able to be applied to many parts of CS. So it would be extremely helpful to have alumni speak at the new center. Argonne staff was really open to taking in IMSA students and involving them in the research that they're holding that involves AI. Not to mention, they even recommended taking tours of Argonne and of other universities. Speaking of universities, we already know that the Illinois Institute of Technology, the University of Illinois and Champaign, and Northwestern all have accepted students to do SIRs over there. And many students over there are doing AI research projects. So it is extremely feasible that we can have formal and informal partnerships with them and also have certain faculty from there present. Next week, the cohort of students are going to be talking to the director of Center for AI at UIUC about their center. And from that, those students will be able to learn and see what they're doing and how it can be applied to our AI center. So we believe that that's the best course of action. Now I'm going to pass it on to Gavia.
Okay, next. Okay, so in our survey that Nika mentioned earlier, so this survey was the basis for and helped solidify our overall curriculum. So we'd like to share our most significant findings. On the graph to your left, you can see that we first asked students whether they would like to learn about specific AI concepts or specific AI fields. And 71% of students said that they prefer the latter. So we then asked students what field they'd like to learn about. And the most popular choice were NLP models, deep learning, computer vision, machine learning, and neural networks. Furthermore, 60% of students indicated that they'd like to work on an AI project team their upperclassman year, as this program will be completed during student sophomore year. Next. So there are two big programs that are currently run under the AI Center. So AI Bites are the lunch and learn community learning programs that are free for everyone on IMSA campus to participate in. Its purpose is specifically to educate the IMSA community about the potential of artificial intelligence, especially in an educational setting. These sessions explore more general topics about AI and may also serve as a stage for other learners to display their AI-related works and projects to the community. The next program is IMSA.ai. IMSA.ai is a program under the AI Center where upperclassmen get the opportunity to work on and contribute to different AI projects. The Class IQ team is currently working on integrating the web scraper Selenium and an ML algorithm to get students specific information and resources specifically designed for IMSA's unique curriculum. Next, the stock portfolio optimization team is using a web scraper and large language models to create a customized stock portfolio for users. And the Gaussian optimized low latency field renderer team is working on making an ML that lets users see 2D images in 3D. So now onto our future plans. When developing this program, we drew inspiration from the Total Applied Learning for Entrepreneurs program, or TALENT. They are a module-based learning program and one of IMSA's most popular and most largest co-curriculars. So, like Talent, we will also be a co-curricular that follows a modular-based learning program. As aforementioned, AI Bites has sessions about general AI that benefit the entire IMSA community. After speaking to the two IMSA students who run these sessions, they expressed their support to turn AI Bites into this module-based learning program to receive more commitment from their students. In addition, it is imperative that we recognize how students with different levels of AI knowledge will be using this program, which is why our program will have 3 different courses, where students can work their way up to a suitable level of AI knowledge. And those who know a lot about AI will also have the opportunity to help teach this program for service hours. Next. To recap our work, our main recommendation is to create a program with 3 different courses that explores different parts of AI and works with our partners. Course 1 of our curriculum isn't based on coding and utilizes activities from IMSA AI Bites. In these sessions, beginner students can expand their knowledge on general AI, ethics in AI, and AI implementation. In Course 2, we talk about the basics of machine learning and neural networks to help students. and these courses will help students wrap their heads around the concept and gain a foundation in ML code and Python. However, students who already have a foundation in AI and ML can get the chance to skip ahead to course 3. In course 3, students will delve into a specific AI field of their choosing. We will network with our partners at Argonne and various other universities to see if they can mentor and provide resources to our students who are more advanced in these fields and doing independent studies under the AI Center. Students whose prior experience from AI mostly comes from this program would also participate in sessions that cover the fundamentals of the field that they want to work in. These sessions would be led by members of the CS faculty who might volunteer to lead these, and any other student volunteers. Now on to the partners. So we are looking to get speakers and mentors and we're first looking for alumni speakers who will speak at the AI Center every other month. We also want to connect with AI specialists from other laboratories and universities, such as UIUC and IIT, because we would love for them to be able to provide resources and mentor students working on complex AI projects and independent studies. Next.
So what we did, the exercise we did to kind of get the kids thinking this morning about the future and realizing it is I have them write headlines from the 2028 IMSA AI Center. And these were 3 that represent some of the ideas that the students had. IMSA's AI Center hosts researchers from universities across the globe. Students from the Illinois Mathematics and Science Academy's AI Center are presenting 15 AI projects at Top AI Conference. And the third one, IMSA releases own open source AI environment for schoolwork. One of the reasons I like this activity is because it looks ahead and you figure out what we might need to do to get from here to there. So for inspiration for IMSA 28 for the AI Center, there you go. Next slide. So at this point, we would like to open up the floor for any questions that our audience has. We hope you do have some. And if you could please direct your question to a specific team, that would be great. And the teams, again, are tech and tools, or you can just say tech. And we got programs, and then we have facilities or place. Who has a question? Yes. Looks like Evan Glazer has a question.
Hi, everyone. I really want to first express my gratitude and appreciation for all the time and thought you put into helping us create the future of how to structure a place and what learning experiences are possible with AI at IMSA. So you did a great job, I think, in giving an overview of what's possible. And I really just want to say thanks for all the thought you put into this. So I have one quick clarifying question for the facilities team. So the lab that you're referring to, is that the one near, is that the one next to the math commons area?
The computer
Math
lab,
study
yes,
area?
it's the one next to math study area, A145,
I
if
see.
I remember.
I see. Okay. So essentially you're suggesting as a prototype to use that to restructure that. Okay, and then in order to make that possible, we have to also consider the other people who use that lab now, like Art, and how what other facility they could use if they couldn't use that one. But that makes sense. And also a landing destination in the future where across into which you referred as the CNA program. It used to be the former art room, but that also seems like a good landing spot. All right, the programs group. I have 2 questions. Really, one is that oh boy, I actually have 3 questions, or one consideration. So as you design modules, I think something that might be really interesting is finding ways for students to be able to earn academic credits by completion of the module. So right now our students earn academic credits through taking courses, and you can also earn a credit by like having an experience like SIR. I do think it's very feasible and plausible to also have an opportunity to earn a credit by virtue or a certificate of some type by virtue of completing the modules. And so you can attract interest from students, because this could be something that appears in the diploma if they've kind of gone through the module-based program, right? That they're kind of endorsed in understanding AI principles. So that's one thing that I think would be great for a conversation with the principal's office and Dr. Rowley. The second thing I wanted to mention is around programming. I noticed that you a lot of it is around applications and using computers. Had you given any thought to AI applications for things that may be using devices? You know, like a computer interfacing with other devices, like robots or other types of technology.
Robotics was definitely something that we originally looked into, but we fear that due to like a low budget, it might not be possible to have students experiment like with AI robots, but it would be something that we would really love to.
Something else that we were maybe thinking of is to involve other clubs at IMSA, like robotics and code society, seeing that they're also really big on IMSA, and so that it might be interesting to see because AI is applicable to so many things at IMSA that we have going on.
Yeah, right. I think it's just there are a lot of great applications, and even in like biotech, right? So it's possible that in the near future, some AI tools can be integrated on a microscopic level to program cells and to perform certain functions, whether it's associated with immunology or defense, or even eradicating cancer cells. So I do think that there are a lot of applications, potential applications that are maybe use the programming principles to have applications outside of CS. The reason why I asked the question is, I think in the headspace of a lot of people, AI is either a tool for computer scientists or a tool that people can use to perform their work more efficiently. But I think there are a lot of research exploration areas that are associated with what everyone is doing across the academy. And I think computer science applications is a good place to start. The third, go ahead and answer that, and then I have a third question.
Okay. So also what me and Gabia were talking about is the fact that we wanted this to be like almost introductory, seeing that as sophomores, that it would be mostly for sophomores, seeing that they can't really do research in their first year because they're adapting and we don't have SIRs for them and they cannot do internships. So this would be a really great place for them to start. And afterwards, we could have them on AI project teams because I know that the AI project teams are only open for upperclassmen. And so this was something to almost prepare them for projects and research that do involve AI, like one of the ones that we saw at Argonne, seeing that like Argonne has so many ones that involve particle physics and a lot of biotech, like you mentioned.
Sure, yeah. And I think I even just think of finding ways in which we can explore AI applications that don't require high performance computing. And I know that sounds like a big leap right now because some of the more advanced work does require incredible processing power. But I thought it was really neat at Argonne when they started talking about the design of hardware and how it could be more receptive to carrying greater computational power. So, it's just something to think about. Because one of the things that one of the scientists said at the end, which I thought was really important and profound, even though it sounds quite simple, is that if you don't familiarize yourself with different applications of AI, you'll be out of a job. And I do think that was a sentiment about 20 years ago around computer science, so and coding. So in a similar conversation with students 20 years ago, they were challenging the value of computer science and felt it wasn't worth their while, even at a STEM school. And I think now most of us would understand or believe that if you don't know how to code, you are really in a backseat of a lot of career paths. So,
Okay. Thank you. What I want to do is I see in the comments, there's kind of somebody doesn't have a specific question, but they would like to ask the students what they're most excited about what they are most excited about with AI in IMSA's future. So do we have any students that want to answer that question?
I can answer that because originally, I guess the first thing that I thought was when it came to AI is that it's like it kind of facilitates thinking without requiring you to actually implement your thinking itself. So I think that gives the opportunity to every single person, no matter who they are, to ideate anything they want and come up with any ideas they want and have the AI kind of implement it for them. For example, with ChatGPT being able to code, which means that now ideas can come from anywhere and anyone, which expands the field and allows a lot more people to participate in furthering the human condition.
Is there another student that'd like to add on to that?
Sure. I think I'm excited about like the application of AI in like interdisciplinary fields. So we have like students here interested in the med field, business field, physics. So there's so many applications of AI. So I'm really excited how IMSA caters to everyone's specific niche.
We've got one more, then we're going to move on to Ashwin and then Namrata. I have questions. Go ahead. Any other students want to add in?
I'm really excited just for this curriculum and like in kind of the design process that people will go through to help this curriculum succeed because it is going to help a lot of IMSA students just learn more about this field because as you said, if you don't really know computer science, you're kind of taking a backseat to a lot of to a lot of jobs. And so I think that that's really imperative for students to learn more about CS. And I think that this can help them gain a lot more exposure than they do in introductory classes such as CSI.
Okay, thanks. Okay, Ashwin, ask your question, please.
Yeah, hi. First of all, congratulations, great work. I think it was a nice summary and really good presentation of what needs to be done and sort of looking forward. I had a question and a few comments on the last but one slide where you had those 3 items listed on AI ethics and something on machine learning. So if we could pull up that slide, is that possible?
Is.
Yeah. All right. So maybe this is before your time, but George Carlin's daughter just put out a response yesterday on a special that an AI created about her father. So, I mean, that sort of sits in with the ethics of AI. And so I think there is a lot of space for humanities to engage and just talk about how AI is going to impact lives, not just for computer science, but across other disciplines. So yeah, that was the only sort of thing that I wanted to mention there there's a lot of scope, outside CS and math. One area where I'm sort of keen on is course 2 and course 3. What specifically I'd be interested in is the kind of math that is required and the kind of computer science skills that are required to be even for kids to appreciate course 2 and course 3. So as we
Yeah.
sort of get into wanting to, have kids get exposed to machine learning and neural networks early, I think it may be good to sort of do a deep dive and sort of understand what kind of background do they truly need to be able to sort of completely utilize what we want to provide them, in terms of resources, in terms of um, technical capabilities. And so I think as we prepare for this AI center, it may sort of certainly help all of us to get a better grounding of both in terms of math and CS, the background that we need to prepare our kids with. So that's all I wanted to say as far as this was concerned. Thank you.
Wait, I just wanted to add something on to what you said, Dr. Mohan. So kind of how we want our curriculum to be made is that because obviously so there's so many different math levels that students come in. Some students come in knowing multivariable calculus, other students still take geometry. So because of that, we want this curriculum to not be very like math based. So and we won't really go into specific mathematical concepts with them. But one thing that we will do for students who are advanced in math, we will let them apply that. And as we said, like our teachers who will be our mentors and maybe even other students, and that they can talk to them and they can learn more through them. And also course 3, that is just learning and applying your knowledge and doing projects that kids can do like for any different type of mathematical knowledge. And I would assume for a kid who with mathematical knowledge as
Okay, you're cutting out there.
Yeah.
As a caveat, but we'll wrap this up. I know we're gonna try to keep it
Sorry.
at 45 minutes. I just want to point out in the chat, in your chat box, there have been, thank you, Rich, for referring to articles, referring to other things that contributors have been talking about. We want to finish with Namrata has one question. That'll be our last question. And then we've got the next step slide. So go ahead, Namrata.
Okay, so first of all, congratulations, great job with presentations. One thing I noticed was in your survey, when you surveyed the students, I think majority of the students were using AI for homework, schoolwork, and I think very few were using it for research, at least for now. Isn't that right, or am I misinterpreting it? I think you said 70% were just using it for homework. So how do you plan on moving those kids to use AI more for research, more for kind of understanding and learning instead of just using it for homework? And my second question was, whenever these initiatives come around and we kind of start talking about these things, I'm always concerned about bringing all the kids on board. And how do you plan on bringing the kids who are kind of struggling, who do not have any AI exposure at all? And where do you start with them? Because they really barely can keep up with IMSA classwork, and how are you going to bring them in to learn something new, or kind of, creating some AI app or exposing them to different things that AI can do? So that was all I had.
Okay, did any students want to respond to those comments?
I can respond. So, like Gavia explained, we were going to start based off of the IMSA Bytes program, which was a program run by the interns who are working on the AI center. And what they had done was they had made like slideshows and presentations, which we can be based off of. And so then what we were going to do, it's a very introductory program. And so it's much more conceptual and it requires a lot less coding. And it had modules about AI. And so we were using that as a basis, and we were thinking of building upon that, seeing that like Gavia mentioned, there's people with so many different levels of expertise that I think it would have to depend for everybody because it's a co-curricular. And so it would be more as though we were explaining it conceptually, and then like the application part of it would come further down the line.
Okay. I think we're going to close it out. I thank you all for being here today. Rich, if you can go to the next slide, just in case you are not as familiar and you're wondering what next steps will be. IMSA leadership will decide where the AI Center prototyping space will be sometime, hopefully moving there in 2024, date and location to be determined. This is a part of the recommender step, right? So that leadership looks at recommendations, and this will be a contributing factor to that, this presentation. Flint.ai pilot launches this semester thanks to a Stephanie Pace Marshall AI Innovation Grant. The IMSA faculty staff theme team continues to meet monthly at Into, which, thank you, most of everybody on the call is on the theme team. And IMSA.ai student Into groups are engaged in 3 different AI projects that were mentioned. IMSA students are involved with AI SIRs, and there's over 20 of those. AI Center interns continue the AI Bites Lunch and Learns and Sandbox sessions, so look for those announcements in Titan Tuesdays. They're at noon on iDays. And IMSA to hire at a certain time a full-time AI lab director. I am not it. I am just a Band-Aid. I'm just somebody helping us imagine, dream, and develop that space and get us to a pilot space. And I'll be writing a white paper by the end of June before I leave, with findings and recommendations to be able to pass off kind of a toolkit to IMSA for the future. And that is all we have. So thank you for joining us. Last slide is just a thank you all, because without an audience, making a presentation doesn't have a deliverable. So we appreciate your time. And we will be doing this presentation again next week, 4 o'clock Friday. You'll get an invitation for the next intercession group of students. Will be coming up with their own conclusions. They will not have access to this recording or the file folder with resources from this team. They'll have to start from scratch. So I appreciate any of the faculty that are and staff that are acting as resources to those students as they learn. Thank you so much.